just like the suds on top, just like the suds on top. Ride, 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 ride waves, just like the water.
Good evening, I'm Ian Butler, and welcome to Wavelength, the show where we talk to local people about local issues in the hope of getting everybody a little bit more on the same wavelength. And in this case, it's going to be a rather cannabis-infused wavelength because our guests today are two people who are the operators of Pacifica's first 2 legal cannabis dispensaries. Now, some of you longtime viewers know years ago I had Archie on here talking about his dispensary years ago, but that one was living in a kind of a quasi-legal land. Now we finally, after all these years, have actual legal marijuana in Pacifica. And the 2 guests I have are Mr. Joe Kerr, right over here, who works at the PHOG Center.
PHOG Foundation.
The PHOG Foundation, excuse me. And then Holly Smallie, who's at Lytt.
Yes.
And they're both over on Palmetto. So that's where it's all happening now for legal cannabis in the entire San Mateo County, is those 2 shops.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think it's great that I know that both of you, it takes a lot of effort and a lot of daring and a lot of money and nerve to put on, to actually get this open. So I congratulate you both on that.
Thank you.
Now, of course, both of you kind of understand the history of marijuana in Pacifica and legal stuff. Maybe could you tell us a little bit the story of how where we got to where we are here?
Absolutely, absolutely. It all started back in about 2011. A wonderful friend of ours named Ruben, a company called 150 in Rockaway Beach, was really the first and pioneer of cannabis in Pacifica.
His first shop was actually on Palmetto before that.
Yes. He did have a shop on Palmetto.
Different name,
got
too.
a flower shop. Kind of licensing,
real business license
really
and everything.
creative.
It was a flower shop.
Right?
It was technically flowers.
It was.
It was flowers. He was really trying to find a way to bring medical cannabis to the area. You couldn't find it anywhere but San Francisco or San Jose, and there was this great big county that needed it.
San Mateo County, a county of liberal people that smoke marijuana. All these years after it was legal statewide, and we didn't have it, so he said there's a need.
It out.
Let's fill it.
He absolutely started it out.
Yeah.
Then we also realized that there was a whole lot of folks down on the coast that weren't being served with delivery and things like that, and some different kind of service with cannabis. And so Emerald Fog started in 2014. And that today has kind of evolved into the PHOG Center and the PHOG Foundation, the first open dispensary in the county and the first cannabis education center in the county.
Yeah, and your center is medical only.
Medical
right?
only currently. Yeah. Probably talk a little bit about the economics of it, but that's going to have to change here real soon.
Okay, yeah, sure.
Medical cannabis in California is becoming a misnomer. We started with 20 years of Prop 215.
Right.
And the new Prop 64 doesn't leave much space for medical cannabis. It's all about the profit and the big corporations. So we're trying to keep it, to where it all kind of started here in the county of San Mateo, and that is medical. And then in 2016, Surefire, which is the predecessor to Lytt, with Holly and Brett Chapman and his mom, came along and decided to move into this new legalized process. It's quite complicated and took a couple of years. All of us closed down and reopened.
Yeah, that was crazy. Have to do that.
A year and a half.
Paying rent in a place that's not open. 2
years, You guys went 2 years, and the PHOG Center went a year and a half.
Yeah.
Closed,
It's hard to keep afloat when you're closed.
Yes.
Yeah, not a lot of revenue generated with the doors closed. Lots going up.
Doesn't help. Yeah, I hear you. Yeah, and so then finally, the Holy Grail was achieved of actually having actual legal, because those are the ones were kind of living in this sort of quasi thing, but now it's officially sanctioned, and it's here, legal marijuana in Pacifica.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So how is that going? Well, first of all, let's hear about tell me about the great stuff that you're doing. It must be incredible to have actual legal marijuana here in town. So tell us about that.
It's exciting.
Yeah.
I will say when we very first opened, people would come in and say, is this real? Can we really can we buy the weed? Or hallelujah, it is finally time, you know? And or neighbors coming in and saying, I don't think I want to buy anything, but can I look around? Can you give me a tour? Can you show me what this is? Sure. You know, the interest I thought was exciting. Or I have trouble sleeping, or I have arthritis, or I have this medical condition, or I'm thinking about quitting drinking. I have the surgery. I don't want to take opiates. I'm thinking about this, but I don't want to buy anything. But can you just show me what you might recommend? And the excitement of the community, to me, was amazing. Just feel so embraced. All the neighbors, the community in general, and our surrounding communities, tourists, they're excited that we're there. They're really excited.
Great. And Palmetto certainly needed some more businesses, some more people, and you're bringing people into the neighborhood. I'm sure that they aren't just going to your place.
Yeah. They go ask, where do I go eat? Where can I get a coffee? Where can I go shopping? Where can I buy souvenirs? Where can I take a surf lesson? You know, they're asking all these questions. They're like, a lot of tourists have never been to Pacifica. A lot of people live in other cities, and they're excited about the little beach life. What is rent here? I've never been here before. This is amazing. People are excited about Pacifica. They like that there's no traffic. They like there's no parking issues. Yeah. They like the sleepy surf feel. They like the community feel. That just, I don't know, just how tight-knit it all is.
Anti-San Francisco, anti-San Jose. It's
because up until now, that's in Oakland. That's your choices.
Yes,
right.
Exactly. It's this great little non-peninsula place. This place that's totally foreign from the tech and the city and the hustle and the bustle and the ocean. And it's amazing.
Yeah.
Apparently now we're finally known for something other than having our cliffs fall into the ocean.
Yeah, and the fall.
Until now, that's been our claim to fame. But now we're the place where marijuana became legal in San Mateo County.
The first.
Kind of exciting.
Yeah, and it seems to me like our city, I think partly because of Reuben, because of the history, it seems like our city was a little bit ahead of everybody else, ahead of the curve.
Big time.
Yeah, it seems like the city, we've already kind of went, it's okay.
Yeah.
That's over.
Yeah, it's significantly ahead of the curve. You know, we look at what's happening around the county. Those of us that went through the process and watched our friends go through the process and how arduous it was here in Pacifica, it's going to be worse in other places, and it has been worse in other places. In spite of the long transition, Pacifica's way ahead of the curve. They've had a great open conversation. I know talking to city staff, Holly's done a lot of work with city staff, has become much easier over the last couple of years than it was when it started. And that's cool, you know, to see it open up and just be accepted as another Pacifica business.
I agree.
Yeah, and I guess the police are there to help you out and keep you safe.
Yes.
They're on your side. And
And
you have Mary Beer from the Pacifica, what's the name of
Youth Prevention.
Youth Prevention.
Yeah.
She's sanctioning it, helping, and a part of it all.
She is. She is like a beautiful mentor, I think, to Joe and I. She keeps us in just that reminder of the potential negative aspects we could have, or the impact we could have on a community, and neither of us want that. She reminds us about youth. She reminds us to educate our guests and about responsible use and what that might look like, and checks in with us. And no, she is a beautiful woman inside and out, and I think we were both so blessed to have her as a resource and someone to, you know, keep us sensitive to our community.
Well, it's great to just see everybody's kind of working together now towards the same goal.
Yeah.
Which is basically to take it off the streets.
Yeah.
And take it into the sunlight.
Safe, responsible use.
Safe and responsible, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, people aren't getting, you know, stuff ripped off, and, you know, I had that happen back in the day. It wasn't fun. I didn't like that. Now, people go into the store, they don't need to go steal it from me.
No.
You know?
Exactly.
And, you know, right about when Reuben wrote, when he opened his place, I came out as the first Pacifica that I'm aware of that actually came out as like, I smoke marijuana, big deal.
I remember that article.
And it's, you know, I had to have a little chat with my kids, like, so your friends at school might be teasing. I was like, Dad, don't worry about it, you know. And anyhow, we've come such a long ways that now I can just talk about it, and it's no longer any
Right.
kind of weird thing at all. We're all like,
Yep.
marijuana, whatever, you
Yes.
know?
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, of course, we do have to be responsible and keep it away for the kids and things, but yeah. So tell us, what are all the products that you have? What's this cornucopia of stuff that people can find available when they go in there?
I think that that's one of the neatest things about the industry is that all the different products. You know, it's not just people are buying cannabis flower to smoke it in a pipe. There's so many products. There's wine, champagne, beer, which we were just talking about earlier, but there's not alcohol infused. It's just cannabis infused, and it tastes great. I think that's a really neat product line for people, especially who are moving away from drinking. And it's a nice alternative. So many guests come in and buy the beer, or they buy the wine or champagne. They can go to social events, and I'm not suggesting that for everyone, but for a lot of guests, they say that it's a nice transition away from alcohol, and they feel like they're fitting in socially in a way that feels good to them, and they have a bit of enhancement in their life, but it's not alcohol anymore. Or there's
to that point, I remember reading some early research that the states that legalized marijuana, car accidents went down.
Yes. Yeah.
People are like, how do you legalize marijuana and have less crashes? Well,
Right.
because people are drinking less and they're taking less opiates.
They are. That's another big one. People come in all the time and they have a surgery in advance, or they don't want to take the narcotics. And so they either have a prior history themselves with narcotics, or a fear of narcotics. And there's so many neat pain management products people can buy that will allow them to not have to take narcotics. Or they have trouble sleeping, they don't have to take prescription medication, they can take something different. And I think it's just so important. We can choose what we put in our own bodies as responsible adults.
And you can choose different kinds of strains too that have different kind of effects.
Yes.
And as a bud tender, you help gear them towards the correct one for their purpose, right?
Absolutely. That's one of the wonderful things about what we have available in the market today. You know, there are a lot of difficulties in the regulated cannabis industry, but there are a lot of great things. You know, one of the reasons I started Emerald PHOG 5-6 years ago was because I didn't know where my medicine was coming from.
Yeah.
I wanted to know what I was smoking, what I was eating.
Yes.
And we know that today, and we can focus those products to specific people's needs, to sleep, to relieve pain, to do all these things that all these other drugs and pharmaceuticals that we've been imbibing keep us from living our lives, where cannabis allows us to live our lives still. You know, one of the most amazing things is seniors, especially seniors, when they start using cannabis versus prescription drugs, they get to go and walk on the beaches here. They get out of their houses again.
Yeah.
They, you know, drive their little red Miata from Moss Beach into town and go swimming in the public swimming pool and come to the cannabis dispensary and get medicine for a month.
Yeah.
And it's, you know, $200 as opposed to $2,000-$3,000 for all the other medicines that she was taking.
And the side effects.
So,
And those
They're not
people
there,
wouldn't.
you know?
Those people often were not able to get marijuana before on the street.
Yeah.
They didn't necessarily
Right.
happen to know a drug dealer.
corner.
especially
grandma,
seniors, it's demystified it.
Yeah.
You know,
Plus, they know exactly what the dosages are.
You know, it's tested, you know,
everything's
it's
tested.
clean,
Yeah.
you know, yes, you can look it up online, you can read every little thing about
don't you-
it. Yes,
Don't you always know what the THC percentage
Yep.
is of everything that you
on
sell?
the package, it's required.
THC,
Nobody's ever going to get
CBD.
surprised.
Every
Nope.
cannabinoid, every, yeah.
That takes a lot of the question mark,
The fear
guesswork
out of it,
yeah.
You know
Yeah.
exactly what you're getting.
That's the
It
cool
doesn't
thing
have
with seniors.
paraquat in it or
Yeah.
whatever.
When the state puts their seal of approval on it, you know, the older folks understand that it's something different
Yeah.
than what they've been taught.
Yeah.
You know.
I love too, like we sell clones in our store, and I love having them in
that's
the
a nice
store.
product to get, yeah.
Yeah, because I love how sustainable we can be as our own. Like I like to grow my own herbs. You know, I grow my own lettuce. I can make my own salads. I can go outside and grab my own basil, and it's a beautiful idea that people can be sustainable themselves. And the city allows 6 plants in your own home or backyard, and that people can grow their own, learn how to do it, and make their own products. I think that's incredible.
Yeah.
And then also, you know, aside from the medical side, people that come in and say, hey, I want to play music all day today, making an album. I flew out from so-and-so, you know, from wherever, and we're going to play music all day long. What's going to give me the best, most creative spirit all day long for myself and my friends? You know, the fun element of it, the creative side of it. I mean, I don't know. I think cannabis
Recreational
is
is medicinal.
Yeah.
It really is. You know,
Well,
the need to relax, to be able to connect with our life in a meaningful way outside of an office.
Connect with each other.
Yeah,
you
connect
know?
with people, nature.
Get outside, be active.
Yeah.
You know, I think cannabis, I think it's a real holistic, active group of people. People, they get out, they surf, they hike, they play music all day. This
It
is
goes
not
well
sitting
with
around.
nature and creativity.
Yeah, right? I think people have this idea of this stoner mindset. People sit around, they smoke a bowl and play video games all day long, and they don't ever go to work or school. And, you know, that's not it. You know, people from all age groups, all professional, you know, just different groups of people enjoying it, coming in, and are excited about it. I think it's really exciting and cool.
Testify, yeah.
Yeah.
I guess we have a little time left, but I wanted to talk a little bit about, I mean, you've been doing this long enough. Your center's been open for several years now. Your place just opened up. You've navigated the labyrinthine laws, and you kind of know what's going on. And so what have we learned? What have we done right? What do we need to change? I'm sure there's some course correction needs to be done now that this is, you know, actually happening. What can we learn about that?
Well, we have overregulated it, of course. You know, anytime there's a great social change, there's kind of a pendulum swing of from one side to the other, and hopefully we end up somewhere in the middle with rational decisions and solutions. Right now, we're living in an atmosphere where cannabis businesses have to absorb somewhere between 40 and 50% of their revenues going directly to regulatory costs, taxes, the process of just complying with state, city regulations, which are very different. You know, every community gets to create their own, so every company in this every kind of company in this industry has to deal with 2-3 different types of regulatory systems. And that's not even talking about the federal issues.
Right.
That's just in California.
That's the California stuff.
You know, you know, and when a business has to absorb 40 to 50% in regulatory and tax costs off the top, it's really hard for them to survive. We've seen just in the last year something like 14%, 75 dispensaries go out of business from December of 2018 to September of 2019. There's
so some shrinkage going on. I
Yeah.
guess. Maybe there'd be a little bit too many tried.
Well, not even enough. No, it's not even too many have tried. It's simply the cost of doing business is beyond any feasible business model. We're watching major corporations, Ease, MedMen, all these big companies that we know cut their staffs by 30, 40% over the last 6 months.
Oh, really? Just
Today,
just for cost cutting.
we grabbed a beer and some oysters before we came over here. We were talking about even at marijuana, the MJ Business Daily. There we go. It had a big headline today how the California cannabis industry is in crisis. And across these last 2 years, what that looks like, and it's not just retailers; it's manufacturers, distributors, retailers, you know, delivery-only licenses. Everyone's struggling.
Agriculture saw a 30% drop.
Cultivators, didn't need to forget about that.
In 9 months, Yeah,
it's difficult. I think it is one of our newest industries. And there's going to be growing pains in any industry. There's exciting things. There's challenges. I think our industry is still trying to figure out what's overregulated, what's underregulated, what's overtaxed, what's undertaxed, and how we can balance that out so that people in California can access cannabis recreationally, medically, and how our businesses can be successful. And I think we're struggling to figure that out. And it's so new. I think reform will happen, and maybe not soon enough. You know, but I think that that's some of the next steps, and it just will naturally occur, like in any industry.
And development of the industry, even locally. You know, this year we hope we can get the city to talk more about consumption lounges. We've created dispensaries, but we haven't allowed any place for the consumption
they need a place to
or
consume
the
it in,
use of the cannabis. And especially with, you know, non-smoking ordinances for multi-unit places, 3 units and over. How does a cannabis user smoke their cannabis if they can't even smoke it in their own home? They can't smoke it on the street. They can't smoke it on the beach.
So it's
they
legal,
can't smoke
but you
it
can't
in the club.
smoke it.
Yeah.
Right.
That's not really legal. Yeah.
And it's
And
a big issue. A lot of seniors in Pacifica because of the lower cost of living, and I hear it every day
And,
some
and the
seniors
city's
fighting.
expecting to get this revenue from the
Yes.
sales, but if people can't legally smoke the stuff, they're not going to be buying it.
Right.
And so the city, if they're going to need to like figure out how people are going to be legally able to smoke this stuff, if they want to get that revenue,
And
that revenue.
Yeah, even like if you think about wine or coffee, you can go to the store and you can go home and you can drink coffee on your own. You can drink a glass of wine on your own. But there's a social aspect of it. That's why bars and cafes are there. I think there's a social aspect to cannabis. And for people to be able to gather together and to
Gathering
go
place
sit
for that.
together
Yeah.
and enjoy cannabis together, there's that social aspect that's missing. We have a lot of tourists that come. They arrive and they say, "Hey, where can I go smoke?" And it's a difficult conversation if they're staying in an Airbnb that isn't allowed, or a hotel room where it's not allowed. You can't do it in your car or on the street or in a cafe. You can't do it at our place or at Joe's or at the PHOG Center. Thank you. It's interesting,
So
right?
if you want to get together with people
it's a
and
growing
consume
pain
a
of the
substance, you're
industry.
going to have to go to a bar. Right?
Yeah,
So
in the back alley though, because you can't do it in the bar either, right?
Well, but I mean, if you want to, you're going to have to get drunk instead of high, and then
see,
be
yes.
driving home
Yeah.
drunk,
Sorry,
and
yeah.
that's not really making our
No.
communities better. So
Right,
I could really
no.
see that would be a helpful thing, and that would also provide more revenue for the city too.
It
If
does.
A lot
we
more.
could have
It's
that.
about a 30% increase overall
That's a-
revenue.
Social
Because
consumption
our city's
lounges.
been counting on some money from this.
Right.
Well, and,
You know?
and one of the great things, Holly and I, have, over the last couple of years, we've put together a association called the San Mateo County Cannabis Association. And it's all 14 licenses and potential licenses in the county, including the 6 dispensaries here in Pacifica.
Joe's done a
hopefully.
beautiful job
the
of bringing
potential.
this
They're going to
all
be
together.
right now we have 2, but there's 4 more.
There are,
pending.
Yes.
there are 6 total licenses currently issued, and hopefully we'll see those other folks. I know Rockaway Enterprises is started construction in the last week,
really?
and you've got Green Haven. They should hopefully get their construction going real soon, and then Seaweed Holistics over in Rockaway as well. They're, I think, working on their minor changes to their facility and state licensing. So we've got a potential of 6 dispensaries to function here in
And
the
that
state.
was the idea
the city.
originally.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. I forgot what I was going to ask. It's almost like I smoked marijuana or something. I don't know. Oh no! Here's what I was. So I'm guessing one of the problems is because there's so many regulations, because you have so many extra expenses, you have to charge more. You have
Yes.
taxes. You have 40% on right off the top for regulations. So I can imagine that you would then have a lot of competition from the street,
The
from
black
people.
market
The black
is
market.
doing very well.
Yeah. So
Last year, the state of California declared 80% of all revenues in cannabis from the black market.
Yeah.
80%. Really.
80% of
Yeah.
all cannabis sold in California was sold in the black market.
I'm flabbergasted by that.
That is
amazing.
the Bureau of Cannabis
Yep.
Control's number.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
So that's a serious
It's a
thing.
They don't
Huge
have
thing.
taxes or overhead and
Testing
They also don't have
and-
testing. You don't know what you're getting. But it's incredible to be able to try to compete with this market that doesn't have any regulatory or licensing rules to follow. And people come in and they're so pumped. The products are amazing. The industry has grown. The array and variety of what's available blows my mind every day. And people get to the register and are floored at the price.
Right,
You know, and you break it down, you explain it, what state, where it all comes
Yeah.
from, and it's shocking, and it's a deterrent to buying legal, unlicensed cannabis.
My advice is for all of you out there, cannabis smokers, buy the legal stuff. We put a lot of effort into making this legal stuff
Right.
happen.
Weed
The
wise,
city needs it.
right?
It's actually making the world a better place.
Right.
I'm proselytizing now, but I'm telling you, I know it's tempting to get the cheaper stuff off the street, but we're trying to get this market going and make this functional. And so I don't know. It's kind of like, to me, it's like your civic duty. In a way.
Buy cannabis.
Vote and buy licensed cannabis if you're going to buy it, right?
Pacifica's, city function, buy your marijuana legally,
Yeah.
So we only have a little bit more time here, but any other kind of issues that we need to address or things that people can do or changes we need to make in the next 3 minutes?
Well, definitely get involved in your community. Know what's
big
going
time.
on. Get in touch with folks that can give you information. The San Mateo County Cannabis Association is available. The PHOG Foundation is available. All of that is free information. Happy to help. Can be reached by phone or email.
I think we have that contact.
Yeah.
There it is. There's the phone number right
Yeah.
now. Look at that. Yeah.
And we're happy to help educate,
Yeah.
find you resources, and go from there.
And then responsible use. You know,
Yeah.
when you leave a dispensary, you leave it. You know, you leave with a locked exit bag. Go home, lock it up, keep it safe for your pets, your kids, unattending adults. Don't drive after smoking cannabis. Be safe. That responsible use piece, I think, goes a long way in our community. We want people to be able to have this access, but be safe about it. Youth prevention is a beautiful resource for families as well. And the Bureau of Cannabis Control has amazing resources for pregnancy, for having youth and children. What's legal, what's not legal in California for medical and recreational. I think a lot of people have questions and they don't know where to go. But the Bureau of Cannabis Control is an amazing resource as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Well, we have, what do we have left there, sir? Another 2 minutes?
Oh, one.
Yeah, we're getting there.
All right.
Yeah. 1 more minute, yeah.
All right, perfect.
Okay, well, I'm really thankful for the work that you two have done, because I know how ridiculous. I mean, we didn't even get into it, half of all the regulatory stuff. You have to have a guard. You have to have everything barcoded from seed to every step, seed to sale. It's really quite insane, the kind of stuff that you do. And the last kind of people that are going to want to have to deal with all this regulations, a bunch of people smelling pot, So the fact that you're able to do that, I think is a pretty incredible thing unto itself. And the
Smoking
fact that
pot helps dealing with it.
I can imagine so. I think that might be the only way to make it possible to
And thank you for having us tonight. And thank you for being such a big advocate for cannabis in the community. I think it takes people like you, Ian, who are well respected in the community, professionals. He's not sitting at home playing video games all day without going to work, and being a great dad and great husband and beautiful community member. But you were such a big advocate this whole way too, and so it's great to be here with you tonight.
Well, thanks.
This is perfect.
I just like to smoke marijuana and play ukulele and pick up trash.
Right?
What can I say?
It's a beautiful
That kind of guy. Kind of guy.
Yeah. Well, okay, so everybody come on down to PHOG Center and come on down to the Lytt and say hi, even if you're not going to buy anything. They're really friendly and it kind of time to demystify all of that. So thanks so much for being on there, Holly and Joe.
Pleasure.
And we'll see you over there at the center. And I want to say thanks to Luigi's Pizza for feeding the crew. Thanks to the crew for eating the Luigi's Pizza. And thanks to you for watching Wavelength. We're not against them. We're for them. Good night.
Just like the suds on top. Just like the suds on top. Waves. Just like the water drop. Just like the water.